Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're cranking up the volume on something kind of different, Mexican reggae. You brought us some stuff on a band called SunBabaLaw. And, well, it looks like we're dealing with more than just a band here, right? It's like a whole movement.
Yeah, definitely. You hit the nail on the head there. It's fascinating, actually. This whole thing with SunBabaLaw using authenticity as their thing, It's like they're trying to say something bigger about their culture and their roots and all that.
I'm picking that up, too. So we've got reggae music, but with a Mexican twist to it. Now, I'm, not a music expert or anything, but I'm already curious. How do they blend those sounds? Like, do they use traditional Mexican instruments, or is it more of a vibe?
That's the question, isn't it? And, the sources we have don't really go into detail about the music itself,
Hmm.
which, on the one hand, keeps it pretty approachable, right? But on the other hand, it leaves me wondering, what is it about their sound that's so special? Is it the instruments, the lyrics, or maybe just a feeling, a certain rhythm?
Yeah, and that's something we'll want to listen for when we actually get to hear them later. But one thing we can check out now are the visuals. They have this Galleria musical linked in the materials.
Right, like they want us to step right into their world even before we hear a single note. There are these glimpses of their live shows, people dancing, and even some mentions of traditional Mexican imagery.
Okay, hold on to that thought for a sec, because this visual stuff seems pretty connected to their history, too. They're really open about wanting everyone to conoce nuestra historia, to get to know their story, their background.
Definitely. And there's this little mystery to it, too. The sources don't give us their whole life story or anything, but they're inviting us to dig deeper on our own, to really get where they're coming from. It's like they're saying, our music isn't just something we created yesterday. It's connected to something bigger, something with history.
Exactly. It's almost like an invitation to trace the lineage of their sound, you know?
Right.
Like, what musical ingredients went into making Sunbala what it is today?
And that ties into their whole join the movement thing, doesn't it? It's not just about passively enjoying the music, but actively becoming part of a story that's still being written.
That's a great point, because they are very active about getting fans involved. In fact, they're inviting everyone to unete a nuestras giras to join their tours.
Which makes perfect sense. What better way to experience their energy than to catch them live? And speaking of experiencing their energy, these eventos especiales they've got listed have me intrigued. There's a real air of intrigue around these special events.
Oh yeah, I was wondering when we'd get to those. What makes them so unique? What can attendees expect? It definitely makes you want to find out more.
Right. It's like they're dropping these little breadcrumbs, leading us deeper into their world.
And the good news is, you don't have to wait for a tour or a special event to connect with your music. They're pretty clear about wanting you to conectarte con nuestra música, and they've made it easy.
Exactly. Spotify, Apple Music, they're on all the usual platforms. It's like they're saying, no matter where you are in the world, you can be part of this.
It's really smart,
Mm.
strategically, because even if someone stumbles upon their music randomly online,
Mhm.
it's that easy to then get pulled into the bigger picture of what they're doing.
It's true. And that accessibility really speaks to their message of inclusivity. It's like they're saying, we're here, we're ready to share our music and message, and we want everyone to feel welcome.
And speaking of their message, I keep coming back to this word authenticity. It's more than just a buzzword for them, isn't it? It feels like it's woven into the fabric of everything they do.
I agree. It's not just about the music sounding authentically Mexican or authentically reggae. It's about their whole approach feeling genuine. They're inviting you to connect with something real, something with depth and history.
It makes you wonder, what is it about music, especially this kind of music, that seems so primed for carrying that message of authenticity?
That's a great question. Maybe it's the way music can tap into something primal, something that resonates deep within us. Regardless of language or cultural background, there's a rawness, a vulnerability to it that can feel very authentic.
And when you combine that with a message of unity, of bringing people together, it creates a powerful force. You can really sense that energy just from these snippets of information we have here.
Absolutely. And let's not forget those tantalizing glimpses into their Galleria musical. I'm still curious about how those visuals, that blend of performance and traditional Mexican imagery, enhance their message and create an even more immersive experience.
Right, it's like they're creating a multi-sensory world, inviting us to experience their music, not just through our ears, but through our eyes as well.
Exactly. And it goes back to that idea of authenticity. They're not just giving us a product, they're inviting us into a world they've created, a world rich in culture, history, and that undeniable Mexican reggae vibe.
Well said. It sounds like SunBabaLaw is doing something really special. They're blending music, culture, and a message of unity to create a truly unique and immersive experience.
They are. And they're challenging us to think about how we can incorporate those same values, authenticity, connection, and a celebration of diversity into our own lives.
Beautifully put. So, to anyone listening who's ready to dive into something new, something that feeds the soul and gets you moving, I say check out SunBabaLaw. Explore their music, let yourself get swept up in the rhythm, and who knows, maybe we'll see you at one of those eventos especiales someday.
Now, wouldn't that be something? It's been a pleasure taking this deep dive with you.
Likewise. And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. What role does music play in your life? How does it connect you to your own culture, to your community, to something bigger than yourself? Food for thought. Until next time, keep exploring, keep listening, and keep the music playing. It's really smart strategically, because even if someone, just stumbles across their music online, they can get pulled into the bigger picture so easily.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of goes back to their whole message of inclusivity, right? We're here, this is our music, come join us kind of thing.
And speaking of their message, I keep thinking about this word, authenticity. It's not just like a marketing thing for them, is it? It feels like it's at the core of everything they do.
Totally. It's not just about the music sounding like authentically Mexican or authentically reggae. It's more that their whole vibe, their whole approach just feels real, like they're inviting you to connect with something genuine, something with some depth.
And it makes you think, what is it about music, especially this kind of music, that seems to really lend itself to that message of authenticity?
That's a great question. Maybe it's because music can tap into something deeper, something primal that resonates with us no matter what language we speak or where we come from. There's a rawness, a vulnerability to it that just feels real.
And when you combine that raw sound with the message of unity, of bringing people together, it's powerful. You can really feel that energy, even just from what we've got here.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about their Galleria musical, those visuals. I'm still curious about how that all ties together. That blend of live performances and traditional Mexican imagery, it's got to add another layer to the whole experience.
Right. It's like they're creating a whole world, inviting you to experience it with all your senses.
Exactly. And it goes back to that idea of authenticity we were talking about. They're not just selling you a product, they're inviting you into their world. A world full of culture, history, and of course that undeniable Mexican reggae vibe.
Well said. SunBabaLaw is doing something really special here. They're blending music, culture, and a message of unity to create something truly unique.
They are, and they make you think, how can we bring those same values, authenticity, connection, diversity, into our own lives?
It's really inspiring,
It is. They make you want to get up and dance, but also think a little deeper at the same time.
And speaking of dancing, what about those eventos especiales we touched on earlier? The sources mentioned them, but didn't really give us a lot of details.
Right. What makes those events so special? It's like they're leaving us hanging a little, wanting more.
I know. It's like they want us to experience it for ourselves, not just hear about it.
Exactly. And it makes you think, what is it about a live music experience, especially one that's so steeped in culture and tradition like SunBabaLaw's?
Maybe it's that feeling of connection, being surrounded by people who share your love for the music, the vibe.
Yeah, and that energy is contagious, isn't it?
Totally. And when you add in those visual elements we talked about earlier, the traditional imagery, it creates this whole other level of immersion.
It's like stepping into another world, a world where music and culture collide.
And that's what makes this band so fascinating, isn't it? They're not just creating music, they're crafting an entire experience.
They are, and they're inviting us to be a part of it.
So to anyone listening who's looking for something a little different, something with soul, something with rhythm, check out SunBabaLaw.
You won't regret it.
It's been great taking this deep dive with you today.
Likewise. Always a pleasure talking music.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep those ears open for new sounds.